What's up, gamers and tech heads? Welcome back to Gaming TI. We got another episode for you today. I'm Imani.
And I'm Tristan, and today we've got some interesting topics to go through. Like, as you know, there's been a very interesting decision going on right now. It's been on all of our minds.
hmm
In the past week, probably the past month, maybe even for this year, the entire year,
Yeah.
and that is like we all have this decision to make, right? Red or blue. It's like which choice to make, right? And AMD has made that decision so much easier.
That is so true. That is,
Yeah,
I mean, hey, red pill, blue pill, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. AMD just killed it. They released their 5,000 CPUs. Like they announced it a while ago, but we
Yeah.
finally got benchmarks, and
hmm
holy crap, they annihilated Intel. The parts they released was like the 5950X, the 5900, 5800X, as well as the 5600X.
Yeah.
And the lowest end part, which is the 5600X, which retails for $300 MSRP, that is killing the 10900K, which is Intel's top end
Their
mainstream.
flagship.
It's their flagship mainstream processor, and it's getting bodied by a $300 part. Yeah,
Rough day for Intel, huh? I mean, like, give me some of the stats here that we're talking about.
well, AMD was already leading in benchmarking. Well, not benchmark, like synthetic benchmarks. They were leading the way, as well as productivity benchmarks. Now
hmm
they're leading in gaming. In some games, they're leading by like a small margin. In other games, Intel is still winning them. Like I think the only game where Intel is winning dominantly is Red Dead Redemption 2. Intel still has a pretty commanding lead there. But
Right.
but then when you look at the games that are really CPU intensive, where like you want all those frames, like games like Valorant or like CS:GO,
Yeah.
we're talking the 5950X is beating the 10900K by 200 FPS. I
Now,
would
the first time I heard that number, like, I don't think people realize what, like, a lot of your monitor doesn't show, chances are your monitor doesn't show 200 FPS.
yeah,
Like,
I w- I get
most
200
people
FPS in Valorant.
not beating by 200 FPS.
Yeah, it is crazy that AMD just I don't know, like this is not something that we see often. Like
Nah,
like not anymore, at least not recently. The generational leaps has not been as dramatic as as they were with these past with the 5000 series. They're not only are they outperforming Intel, they're outperforming their past parts. Like the 5950X is on average beating the 3950X by like 30% or more. That
impressive.
is
That's a third, that's not easy to do.
no, that's a big leap. That is a big leap. I understand. Like, I understand why they skipped the 4000. It's like, no, this isn't.
This isn't comparable. We can't do
Nah,
this.
nah.
We're gonna be tricking consumers if we make them think this is a small change.
Yeah, this is big for them. This is big for them. The only thing that is kind of bad about this launch, you could say, is that because they have such a commanding lead anymore, you can't really say that yeah, Intel are the non Intel AMD are the budget brand as you would see in the past. Right now, because they have the lead in both productivity and gaming, they can command a price premium for that. So we'll have to
Yep.
see if the because usually what the MSRP for the uh CPUs go down like a few months after release. I don't know if that will happen again this time.
They would have no reason to, right? Because there's nothing really that you can get better for like bang for your buck, right?
No, there's nothing that competes with it. The
Yeah.
only thing that competes with it is itself. So, like, you look at, if you're just a gamer, you look at a part like the 5600X, and
Mhm.
it's comparable to the more expensive 5800 X when it comes to gaming, which costs $150 more, and
Right.
it's also fair. It can also keep up with the 5900X, which is that would be $250 more than it, roughly.
Hmm.
So they're kind of they're only competing with themselves at this point. Yeah,
And, I mean, it's dangerous for any one company to have a monopoly, so, like, hopefully all this does is kind of wake Intel up and say, "Okay, yeah, we gotta get our stuff together," you know?
yeah. Intel released a statement recently that said this is basically a rumor, but
Mhm.
they're saying that their next gen, which is supposedly going to be released in January or early 2021, January, February, I think,
Right.
is going to increase the instructions per clock by 18%. But that may not even be enough to cover the gap that AMD just made. Yeah,
I
so
guess we'll see. Time will tell, how things end up working out, right?
yeah, time will tell. Like, I know you just you just built your system last year. You have an X570 board, so you have a compatible board. You're thinking of upgrading?
I mean, I think eventually I just upgraded my case. We got a nice, beautiful case. We got some big, beautiful fans in there. Got a whole anime figure in there because it's big enough.
Yeah,
um,
sure.
and honestly, it's like it's like we have the new NVIDIA 3000 series, and now we have the new Ryzen processors. I don't think I'm gonna be upgrading, like, soon, but I'm glad that I have a path to upgrade now, and it seems like a very, pretty solid upgrade path.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
whenever I do upgrade, probably again, maybe in, like, a year, see how the cash flow goes. I'm my system is ready.
yeah. At least like you're ready to accept. Even if they're gonna have another part by that time, your upgrade is still gonna be worth it. Like
Yeah,
30%
30
more
30 plus
performance.
percent?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that that's a no-brainer, and, like, again, don't have to go and spend the money on a new board and
Just a
yeah, that's a easy swap,
easy swap. Yeah. Well, yeah. AMD is killing it. I don't.
man. Hopefully they continue, but again, hopefully Intel gets their stuff together otherwise, because the last thing we want is a complete, like, monopoly. We don't want it to be a case where any one company is completely dominating the market over another.
Definitely, especially with the upcoming AMD GPUs that look to be competing with the Nvidia GPUs. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want AMD. We don't want them feeling themselves that much.
No, no, like, I mean, and that's the thing, like, when we've had Intel and NVIDIA, like, dominating their own markets, right? So, NVIDIA's been with the GPUs, Intel's been with the CPUs, but we don't want AMD to come and say, I'm gonna eat both of your lunch, That's I don't think that's gonna have, like, one company who's, like, dominating GPU and CPU. Nah, nah.
Yeah, hopefully Intel has a response. I
Yeah,
because there's just no competition anymore. Like, if you're thinking of building a system, I can't think of any reason whatsoever for you to buy an Intel part. Like,
no.
actually none, which is not a good thing. It's it's not a good thing. This should be a difficult decision, but
There should be selection.
yeah, it's not. It's just domination. Well, yeah. Hopefully, those parts aren't as difficult to get as the GPU releases, how stuff like the GPU releases was going, like there still isn't 3080 stock
Yeah,
right now.
it's very hard to get it, and I mean, a lot of the problems too is, like, bots buying it up, but
Yeah,
hopefully, next year and, we get a bit more manufacturing and, things at least in China, where manufacturing is done, starts to I shouldn't say starts to stabilize, but continues to stabilize, we'll be able to get more reliable, inventory for certain parts.
yeah, definitely. Uh, well, I think we could move on to our next story, which is our main story, which
Yep,
is
topic for the day.
yeah, which is do big streamers need your donations? You sent me a tweet from the popular streamer Pokimane.
Yeah, so I'll read that out right now. So let me just pull it up real quick. So Pokimane, aka Pokey, uh she's obviously a huge streamer. If you do know her, there's no introduction is needed. If you don't know her, she is she's a streamer that has gained a lot of popularity over the years, increasingly so, and a lot of people look at her almost as the female streamer in certain cases, right? Um, so she actually sent out a tweet, when was this? On the 1st of November, saying she's worked with Streamlabs to create a donation cap of $5 for her channel. And she said, "Thank you for supporting me to the point where I considered anything more than that unnecessary. To anyone that was more generous, please support growing channels, charities, and treat yourselves." And, that really made me like question, like, there are a lot of streamers out there who sometimes when they get ridiculous donations, $500, $400 donations, they literally kinda stop stream and say, "Hey, like, I'm refunding that. I'm not gonna accept that." And I don't sometimes it might be, guilty conscience, they already have a lot, and a lot of the times it could just be that, they do remember when they were a small streamer and they could have really used whether it be that, financial resource or that just, like, as a motivational
To keep
resource,
going,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, it's like, do big streamers we're talking again, when we say big, we're talking very popular, very well known. We're talking Ninja, we're talking Pokimane, we're talking Tim the Tatman, a lot of these big names, Shroud, Dr. Lupo, a lot of those kind of names. Do they need donos? Like, should donos should there come up or will there come a point or is there a point that if you get to this certain channel size donations shouldn't be allowed? Is that a case? What do you think about that? Or it gets automatically capped
You
to
see,
$5.
my thing about streaming is, although it may not seem like it, it is a very high risk job. There's
Hmm,
no, like, you have to, like, if you have a traditional 9 to 5 job, you probably have a pension plan with your job, or maybe you have like insurance through your job or something like that.
yeah,
And or like if you have a business, there's like assurances that you can make so that even if your business isn't financially stable at a certain point, that you can still live. All right.
yeah.
That's not really something that you can afford. That's not really a convenience that's afforded to streamers, really.
Hmm,
So my thinking is, I don't know. I think that you should definitely still support uh big streamers, because without, like, they won't be able to get to that point that they are, where they're getting sponsored by companies, or where they have like they're making like tens of thousands of dollars in donations and subscriptions each month.
you're right.
Uh, you need to, streamers don't have a plan for, well, they don't have like a fallback for, like, if you can't stream anymore for some reason,
Right,
or
like, disability, for example.
yeah, or like if like in the future, like if you want to retire, all of the money that they earn from your donations is what's gonna help them later on in life. So I think like it's to me, I hope it's a responsible decision on her part where she thought it through and she says and she thinks that the money that she has now that she doesn't need the big donations to be able to live comfortably later in life. Or maybe she has like a different plan for herself. Maybe she can pivot to something else.
So just to break down in Pokey's case, actually, she actually has several businesses. So
Okay.
she even outside of streaming, she's doing quite well. And streaming has obviously helped her to fund her lifestyle and everything to be able to get to where she's at now. But in that specific case, she does have contingencies and she does have other fallbacks. But not everybody does, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm yeah. So like not everybody has that fallback. And if you're gonna be able to if you're gonna go down that path of not accepting big donations or maybe not even accepting donations at all, you
Mhm.
definitely need to have a fallback. Whether I think big streamers need your donations, need is a strong word. I don't think they need it uh to like continue living the lifestyle that they're living because a lot of their money when you say donations, are you speaking strictly about like bits and donations or are you
Yeah,
including
thinking
subs?
strictly about, like, bits and donations. Subs are fine, but, like, we're talking about, I'm donating this money and, you get to leave your little comment and stuff with it and hope they read it and all that stuff, and, like, those and bits, those specific things.
Okay. Okay, well, yeah, I think like you can get to a point like if you're a streamer with 10,000 subs or and like uh you get subs like if you were to conservatively average a sub at $5 because there's different tiers of subs. It goes up
Yeah,
to
of course.
$25.
Right.
Uh if you conservatively average $5 a sub and let's say Twitch takes half of that, that's
Mhm.
still a decent amount of money per month just on subs
Right.
alone. Alright? You can live on that, and they don't necessarily need it, but and then there's the sponsorships as well.
Sponsors on top of that, yep.
Yeah, so they I don't think they need it, but immediately, but I think in the future having that money would do well for them. And if you're gonna go the direction of disabling it, you definitely should have another source of income or like a backup source of income to make sure that you're able to live comfortably later on in life or in the event of uh something
Not being able to
tragic.
stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, like, one of those cases, though, where if you were to treat streaming like a normal job, I think the thing is you can build enough of a financial cushion, and whether it be through investments, things that normal people do, like, or average people do when they get a full-time job, right? Where they do have a 401k and all of these other boring things that people might consider boring, but it's financially wise to invest in, so that way you can live in the future, even whether it be when you get to retirement age. Because the thing is, streaming is still a fairly new concept. We're talking about a decade,
Yeah.
right? There's no streamer who has started their career as a streamer who is now 60 or 40 or 50, Like, I mean, you might have a few people, but generally speaking, there's nobody who started streaming young as their career and now they're an old, there just hasn't been enough time yet. So we really don't know what the future holds. And like you said, it is smart to, if they can reliably stash that money and not have to use it for anything, then having keeping those donations on are definitely a good thing, right? Um, where they can build up again this financial cushion. But at the same time, I feel like I do think that there's more to some of those donations from even the donators' side than just like "Oh, here's the I'm giving you money, because whatever." Like, a lot of the times people give money to the things that they enjoy, they like, they care about, right? So, the question, like the question I was thinking in my head is, should there possibly be an option for when you become a big enough streamer, or not even big, maybe at any point, where you can essentially contribute your donation. So it's like the donation goes through to the person, right? It comes up on stream and everything just as it would normally, but in the Twitch settings or in your account settings, you can basically say like, okay, here's an option where this goes to like a pool, right? And so now like let's say there's 100 accounts um that have created like this pool of like, I don't know, let's just say $10,000 from just strictly from donations. And maybe it's a case of you can randomly distribute that pool of money as subs to smaller streamers, like as a motivational thing that is like, hey, um these like and like these big streamers are supporting your dream too by donating their donations to you, like in some kind of sense.
Oh, I like that. It's kind of like not just you're not just able to host or raid a smaller channel with all your viewers, but you're able to like financially support them as well
Yeah, and motivate them too,
and
because I feel
motivate them
like
to keep going. Yeah.
a lot of like streaming, a lot of doing things in on social media in the public eye, when you have certain expectations or certain goals, and you again, a lot of the times it's not linear. Like it's not like, okay, I have 5 subs, then tomorrow I'm gonna have 10 subs, the next day I'm gonna have 20 subs, it doesn't work like that, right? A lot of the times it might be, I've been doing this for 5 years with nothing, and then you hit this point where it's like, boom, it skyrockets. And some people just need the motivation to continue until they get to that point, right?
Hmm.
And, maybe this, have an idea like that would be just a really good way, to a really wholesome way to give back to the streaming community, the same community that helped put them on such a big platform.
Hmm. I, yeah, I like that. I like that. Like, it's basically their way of giving back. Like, instead of
Yeah,
denying all of the donations that these people want to give to you, you accept it and you give it back to
you
your
reinvest that.
community. So, and that
You
would,
let them know.
yeah, and you'd help, and that doing that, you would help your community grow. And the bigger the community, the more relevant streaming can be, right? Because we, as you were alluding to before, we don't know. There isn't not anyone who has had like a 20-year career in streaming yet, because there hasn't been 20 years of streaming yet. So we
Yeah,
don't know if someone can stay relevant for
for
20
that long.
years.
Yeah.
You don't know if you'll be able to have a 15-year streaming career.
Mhm.
So if you can encourage more streamers to continue streaming, and you could show them that, you know what, this isn't just this could be a potential career path for you.
Yeah.
This could be something that it will help the streaming community grow, and that will help streaming on the whole.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that
I agree.
idea. I like that idea a lot, actually.
Yeah, like, that was the one thing I thought of, it's like, how can, because the reality is there are a lot of people, and like, I don't know who these people are, but there are a lot of people who go into streams, and like I've seen it, $500 donation, and it's just like, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That is a lot of
And
money. And you see it a lot
it's
in you see it constantly in the bigger streamers. Like when
in the big streamers. Yep.
I could think back to like when Tim the Tatman was streaming Fall Guys. Like almost every couple of minutes you would see a $250 donation, a $200 donation, $100 donation constantly pop up like
Hmm.
on screen. That's like, yo, that's a lot of money to give someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I could understand, I I don't fully understand it because I've never been there or done that, but I could understand, some people, like, they have money and they go through a rough time and then, they're watching a stream and it makes them happy, so I could understand why why somebody would want to do that, and all I'm saying is that, doing it is fine, like, if you have the money to do it and you do it, awesome, good f like, great. But, it's like, what can we do with that? Like, how else can we spread that wealth is kinda like how I approached it in my head, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because uh going back to the original question, like, do the streamers need the big streamers need that donation? They don't need it. They don't. It's basically a nice to have at that point.
Yeah,
And like you see a lot of the bigger streamers now, uh, following suit to what Pokemon has done. Like even before that, I saw Moon was helping his followers, well, his subs and stuff, pay their tuition. Which is a
yeah, remember that.
That's like a really cool thing to do. I
Yeah.
I, I remember back in the day, like when Moon started, and he was like that. Give me your money, streamer.
You
He,
got money? Don't know.
yeah, he had like entire ads about like sub to Moon, donate to Moon. It's like entire ads like that. And now he's at a spot where he has like more money to know than he knows what to do with it, and
Yeah,
he's giving it back. And that's something like you see that like when you have a lot, you have that like inclination to give back, and it's nice to see that the stream community, the bigger streamers, want to give back.
yeah, I mean, like, this is obviously getting a bit ethical, moral, a bit outside of just, streaming and like, objective, but, like, when you have excess, a lot of people just want to share,
Yeah.
right? And now you do have the people who have excess and they just I mean, they wanna keep it, right? And there's multiple reasons for that. I'm not I'm not gonna bash anybody for, I mean, I guess some people could deserve a bashing, but, like, not specifically streamers, but I'm just saying, like, there comes a point where you do have excess and some people just wanna keep it all. And I think all I'm saying is that there should be an option where instead of turning away that excess, where now, you know, that person who knows what that person is gonna spend the money on, and it's their money, so they should be able to spend it on what they want, but here's just another option, And I just think it would be a really cool thing to do, I mean, imagine just randomly being selected, and, like, it could be a case where, you're selected for 5 subs and, like, trying to think of exactly how the system would work, but you get randomly selected for 5 subs. Let's say if you have under, I don't know, 100 viewers at a time and you're not like a Twitch partner or something, or wait, no, if you are a Twitch partner that and you have like under 100 viewers or something, you get selected for like 100 sub, I mean, for 5 subs, and then you you basically are put on like a blacklist for like X period of time where you can't get that again. Like so that way you don't have somebody who just gets lucky where because you're gonna have cases where somebody just gets lucky and they get it like 3 times, like back to back to back, right?
Hmm.
So it's like you have to kind of be put on like this list where it's like, okay, you got it this time for the next month, you can't get it for the next, month and a half, 6 weeks or whatever. You can't get this random, a lot of like 5 subs. And yeah, I think it would be a pretty just a really cool system. So like Twitch, if anybody who works at Twitch is there and you have, these big streamers coming to you saying, "Hey, can we not donate?" Like, can we not have, big donations? Just, this might be a good
An
little alternative.
alternative. Yeah, because it's not like, at least I don't think so. It's not like Twitch gets a portion of those donations
Of
anyway.
the donations, no. They go, like, directly into your, I forgot what the name of the account is, but, like, it's an account that is then hooked up to, like, your PayPal, and then you could just withdraw it that way.
Yeah, yeah. So it would be a neat feature. I like it.
So trying to think, is there anything else that I had in mind there? Because that's like we went through that pretty quickly. Let me see.
uh, you wanted to, we could talk about the Apple event that's coming up.
Oh yes, suspicions for the Apple event. That is actually yes, that is something that I did want to talk about at one point. So this week, November 10th, that is in 3 days, we have the Apple event coming up again. And what was it titled?
One more thing, I think was
One
the
more thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So we do have this new Apple event, and we're most likely we kind of already know what it is, and we believe firmly that it's Apple announcing their new silicon for their MacBooks and their own computers, right? So they got their new freshly made Apple CPUs for their with their own architecture and all of that. You know, this will kind of unify their whole entire platform, right?
Yeah, everything would be ARM based, and I think there was a Apple insider that said it's gonna be A14X, just like
Mm,
a higher end model of the A14 chip that's in the iPhones right now, the iPhone
iPhones and
12. Yeah,
Oh, right, the iPhone, yeah, the iPhone because the iPhone 12 is brand new and has a new chipset in it. Right, right.
yeah. So
I mean,
the only
it,
thing with
it would
that
be a
is
big change. Mhm.
yeah, the only thing with that is there's not gonna. I don't think all the apps are gonna work perfectly because as of now, on iPad OS at least, which is pretty close to Mac OS at this point,
Mhm.
they're and they are running the ARM-based chips. A lot of the programs aren't really emulated well to work on the ARM chips. They're still like on x86, which is Intel.
Yeah.
So like you have programs like I think Adobe Photoshop or After
Mm,
Effects don't work as well. Well, don't work at all. Sorry, on ARM right now. So there I think there are alternatives at the moment, but those are like programs that MacBook owners are gonna need. So
yeah, quite quickly.
that's the only thing that to look out for with that. I'd like to see if they're gonna address that in the event. Uh,
Yeah, it would be. I mean, honestly, I feel like Apple is one company, especially when it comes to their developers for big things such as that, like Adobe products and so on. Most of the times, they kind of give developers a heads up quite in advance because you'll notice almost anytime Apple releases a new product line or anything like that, where, productivity applications and stuff are very important, they most of the times start off with, we've already reached out to X amount of developers and you can access, you know, 1,000 popular apps that we know that you'll probably need and want on day one.
hmm,
And, they did that with the iPad. With the iPhone, they've constantly like been pushing for more developers on their platform. And I do believe that they've thought about that. I think so. So it's to see, what they will say because I think that they realize that their computers are creative machines, right? They're machines used for a lot of creative content and um, again, the entire Adobe suite is like the bread and butter on an Apple PC on a Mac. So I think they definitely would have gotten like Adobe on board and then like obviously a few other people. And then over time, I feel like there's just gonna be a lot of people who are gonna want, it's Apple. Like you're gonna want to develop and get onto that platform, right?
yeah, is they have a large user base, and the developers are gonna want to use. They're eventually gonna want to have that access to that user base. So
Exactly.
it's not it's really just a matter of when. everything is supported. Not if, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then one other thing that we don't know, but we don't know if this is gonna be an announcement. We have no how to say, like, no reason to actually think that this is gonna happen. But who knows? Apple started developing in-house the Apple Car in 2014, and it had a scheduled, finish date of 2020. Now the question is, will Apple give us an inkling of what they've been cooking up in their Palo Alto lab all these years?
Uh, I don't think they expected this 2020. So maybe the 2020 they mentioned back in 2014 is probably a different
Quite different.
2020.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So
quite
maybe it'll be delayed. It'll be interesting if we get a look onto like what's going on, but that's not really Apple style, you know. They release stuff that's fully developed, and I don't think they're gonna take a chance again because the last thing that they talked about doing before it was actually made was air power, and that didn't
Yep,
turn out.
that
That
didn't turn out too
that didn't
well.
turn
Yeah,
out well, and that's not something that you see Apple do a whole lot.
right.
So, like, if they do mention something about the Apple Car, I would think that they have at least a working prototype.
And that's the thing, I feel like when it's Apple, they really, like, they really show something off that, again, like you said, is polished and kind of like, "Oh, and we'll be shipping this, by the end of the year," or "We'll be shipping this in 2 months," you know?
Yeah, they
And
don't
there
really
has
like
not
to
been
pull
a
behind the
single leak.
curtain. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, but, okay, so an Apple Car, what would an Apple Car be for you? Like, what do you see an Apple Car being like?
I see an Apple Car being you get a chassis, wheels would be an option. It will come with some basic wheels, but
Yeah, yeah,
you could upgrade to like these pro wheels that are
that are normal wheels.
yeah, these pro wheels that are engineered for different surfaces like every wheel is, but it's Apple, so this is a special wheel.
It's made out of special rubber, alright?
It's made of a special in-house material.
Yeah, yeah.
Or they'll say like, we noticed that a lot of people are wasting the a lot of people don't need the back seat, you know? So we're shipping you this car without the back seat because it's good for the environment. And you have the option to buy the back seat.
You know what I think they would do? I think they would say something like, "We noticed that regular air in tires just doesn't cut the job a lot of the times." And, like, so there actually is a nitrogen upgrade for tires, right? Like, you can pump your tires with nitrogen, which it's better for the tire. But they're probably gonna, like, take it a step further, and we'll be like, "And we know nitrogen is, a great way to go, but we developed our own in-house gas just for this car.
Just for this.
It operates in all environments, whether you're in the Sahara Desert or
Why would
or
you
on
be?
Mount Everest."
Why would you be?
But, like, so my question too is, we spoke about this recently, with, Tesla and full self-driving. The question, if Apple develops a car, it would most likely be an electric car. I would think so.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm wondering if, like, how teched out will it be? Because it will be a tech-centric car. This will be, again, one of the not one of the first times, this would be the first time that a large tech company has said, "This we're making a car." I mean, like, Google has said that they're making a car, but this will be the first time that a tech company, like, fully unveils a car. Actually, no. Sony made a car, and the Sony car
I
was
forgot about
pretty. Yeah, I mean, the Sony car was cool, but it's just they already said, like, "We can't actually produce it, like, it's way too expensive." Um, so it's like, I guess Apple doesn't have that holdback because it's like everything we make is expensive anyway. So, like, so it'll be an electric car, and it's probably going to be the epitome of a luxury electric car. I mean, Teslas are cool and all, but they're not very luxurious and
No,
interior wise.
I think that's. I think like if they really do go down that route, then you're gonna have a better interior than them. Like 100%. They're gonna. I just thought of another upgrade. The fabric, the material that the chairs are made of. You could have like basic regular material, like that every other car has,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you could have a special in-house design fabric that that
It cools. It
yeah,
cools you while you sit in it.
yeah. It automatically detects the temperature, so you don't need it
Oh,
regulates your body temperature.
I we constantly monitor your body temperature, so you're constantly driving at a cool temperature for you.
Yep, yep, something like that. Something like that. That would be an upgrade. But we're joking, but they're probably gonna have like some like really cool features that Tesla, like interior features at least, that Tesla
Sure,
will not offer. I think like
yeah,
with
we didn't have
driving
thought of the
wise,
problem.
they might not be able to compete with them. Like how the car drives, how it feels to drive it, they may
Mhm.
not be able to compete with them. Ah,
Yeah,
but otherwise,
but
it'll
I
be an
mean,
interesting battle between Apple and
yeah,
Tesla.
I would definitely love to see, because the thing too is, Apple has the money. I don't know if they have the factory space to ramp, a full car. Like, I mean, producing a phone is very different than producing a full vehicle, right? It requires a lot of sourcing of parts from very different places, as well as large quantities of that, and then producing. I mean, a car holds several magnitudes of battery more than a phone, an electric car, that is. So, being able to see how they would handle and tackle all of those issues would be interesting. I mean, even Tesla, as the biggest electric car manufacturer out right now, and biggest car manufacturer out by market cap, um, I mean, they're struggling. I mean, they're growing as rapidly as possible, but it'll be interesting to see how Apple tackles some of the problems that Tesla has.
Yeah, yeah. That,
So,
like I could honestly see the back and forth in my head now, and we kind of be similar to like Google versus Apple in a way.
yeah. But the cool thing about it is this is Apple, infiltrating a bunch of different, areas of, society. And, maybe Apple will also be the company to bring electric vehicles to the forefront. A lot of Apple brought smartphones to the forefront. Who's to say that they can't pull a similar trick out of their hat for
Uh,
for electric vehicles?
I
I don't see it happening because it'll be
nah,
too expensive.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
But, like, in terms of the idea of an electric vehicle, I think Apple can better push it than a newcomer like Tesla.
We we probably, you know what? A lot of people have iPhones, and the connectivity between the Apple car and the iPhone devices, or just the iOS devices on the whole, is going to be incredible. Because that's one thing
That
that they
is
do really well. Yeah, that's
Ooh,
like
man, a speaker system in there would be pretty
it would
pretty
be
dope
good
too.
too. Yeah, yeah.
Too
That.
bad Siri's gonna suck.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be the only option. You're gonna have to use Siri. Oh god, there are gonna be so much lost people, bro.
Yeah. Oh, man, but yeah, I mean, again, we have Monday. I think it's Monday or Tuesday, November 10th. We'll see. It's Tuesday.
Yeah,
We'll see what Apple got to show, you know, and we'll report back probably next week. It's probably not going to be anything to report on, to be honest. We kind of spoke about what it probably is. So,
yeah. We'll follow up. Uh,
yeah, of course.
yeah. So, like, I think we could wrap up here. And as always, thank you for listening. Hopefully, it's been interesting. Just remember, we're not scientists, we're not engineers, just a couple of gamers that talk tech. All right, peace.
Peace.